Hey.
Oh, here we go.
Hello, hello, hello. I am a NervyDestroyer. I've been
I'm
running
Sloth.
and he's Sloth. Been running the game for about 2 years
Good
now.
start.
Yeah. How long have you been running this game, Sloth?
3 years. Yeah, 2020.
3 years.
Start of the pandemic. So.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, it's we're already out of bounds. We're not gonna do this trick in the run because it's kind of very inconsistent, but there's gonna be a lot of this. Just getting out of bounds and doing all this other fun stuff. So,
So Wacky, introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Wacky. I've been running this game since 2019, but I'm nowhere near as good as these fellas.
You're
all right.
good, Wacky. You're good.
Well, I think we're ready to get started here.
Yeah.
You at the restart mission?
Yes, I am.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
All right, so first bit of POA is really just running all the way to keys. This is supposed to be like the tutorial section, but we're on legendary, so the game doesn't really teach us anything, and just lets us run right away, and we skip the whole part with, you know, them talking to us, showing us how the shield works. We have to do that on easy, which is why I generally don't really like that category very much. On legendary, we can just immediately go right over to Captain Keys.
I haven't done pipe jump in probably a year, so I did not do that correctly.
All right.
You'll see the runners just kind of like inch their way into that room and then back out immediately. That's a safety script that was implemented so people don't get lost when they're running the game. But we use it to teleport to keys faster. We're going to be going so fast through here that we skip a trigger that makes us pick up a pistol as well. So we only have an AR at the moment.
And this level is one that had a pretty major, I'd say, skip that was found. A lot of skips make good use of the anniversary graphics, which you'll see us switch to when we get out of bounds. And this will be one such level where we're going to get to do that.
The last big skip that's been found in this game 2 years ago.
Well, there's another one that's in the works, right?
Oh. All right. 2001 AI already doing good.
The AI for the time was actually really good. The way they do feel a lot more alive than other games at the time.
Much of
say speedrunners that
that's a plasma.
Frustrating and predictable sometimes, but it was really good for the time.
And much of this hallway is just throwing as many nades as you can to kill everything.
My boys are not dying.
And I'll let Wacky describe what's about to happen here.
So Nervy is sitting on top of a shield, and when you saw it respawn there, its geometry popped back into existence after having been shot down, and that clipped the chief out of bounds. And so now we're above the level, jumping on top of the reverse geometry, and progressing through it by just kind of like touching triggers just through the roof. And this skip can only be done with graphics that CEA and MCC use. On the original version of the game, you can't do any of that. And we are now pretty much at the last little segment of the level.
Oh, that fell thing.
In the vanilla version of the game, we would have to go through a whole area of stairs, and then through maintenance tunnels, and then come out here with a lot more enemies as well. It's very difficult. Legendary is pretty inconsistent. When we started doing this on the MCC version of the game, it made this entire level a lot more consistent, and for a lot of people, a lot more bearable.
Yeah, we have a classic version of this category where you can't switch to new graphics, and another runner, Cambit, has been running it a lot, and just the brutality that this level used to be before that skip is pretty major.
I personally was a bit set in my ways. I didn't want to spend the time to learn that stairs skip. And so even on the MCC version of the game, I would still run without it. And it was...
Chief, can you hear me?
It only took about a month or two before I decided I need to learn this. This level, just, I gotta get out.
There's nothing we can do.
It's also way faster. I think it saves about 45 seconds.
Covenant dropships on approach.
Yeah, about 40 to 45.
We're lucky. Covenant will believe that everyone aboard this
Now we're just doing a little jump to the other side. That goes way faster than we're supposed to by going across the bridge, and that allows us to basically skip enemy spawns that would be coming up here if we had gotten them a voice line by Cortana about flora and fauna.
All right, that's why we don't do that.
The only downside of that strat is that you have to listen to these disgusting strings for the next 2 minutes. That just
tried to save
drone
my
on
money,
and
by the way.
on.
Oh, did you do the,
I went for the new graphics thing and it did not.
the Argentina skip?
I was going to, and then I just didn't feel like it. I'll be completely honest with you.
It looks
I'm
so
down in
silly.
aid, but it's whatever.
should check to see if there are any survivors.
So coming up on first area here, the primary focus is going to be to clear the Covenant enemies out so that we can progress. But then past that, we're also going to be trying to get rid of as many Marine allies as we can. The reason for that is something called drop skip, where we save about 20 seconds by making 2 ships of the same ID be in the level at the same time. And then when the first one is despawned, the second one will also despawn. And so it just doesn't ever drop off enemies, and it just skips the entire wave. So what you'll see Nervy here doing is he's tactically saving these Marines so that when the ship comes down, he doesn't get any dialogue. And having only one enemy alive, or I'm sorry, one Marine alive during the final ship, second to final, I suppose, it makes it so that the ship comes in faster than the scriptures had intended, and it just gets bleeped out of existence.
One thing we should note before we forget, backpack reloading.
Right. It's pretty much the core moment-to-moment mechanic in CE that none of the other games have. It's very fun. If you reload twice and then switch to your secondary weapon, it will continue to reload.
I'll
in
shoot,
your
reload
backpack.
twice, and switch. And it's full.
It's used on both difficulties, easy and legendary, but we couldn't do anywhere near the kind of shenanigans we do on legendary if we didn't have the ability to just pump out constant damage from 2 weapons. I've often imagined what some of the other games like Halo 2 or 3 would be like if they had backpack reloading. It's just such an invaluable thing to make some of these clears.
I know the Dawn fight on Halo 3 would be so much better if we could backpack. Like, because you have 4 rockets, and the rocket launcher takes forever to reload. So if I could just reload that in my backpack like we can in this game, it'd be pretty nice.
So this is the final ship. Nervy successfully did drop skip. Once this is cleared, we're going to be on an auto scroller waiting for the Warthog to come in. Looks like Sloth is finishing up his decider ship.
Yep.
So if this is done fast enough, then we will not get the extra ship. Or the DLC ship, as we like to call it.
It's not the worst
Also
if
the
you get
hardest
it.
ship as well.
Yeah, it's not the worst if you get it, but or if you don't get it, I should say, like if you don't get drop skip. But that drop ship does drop off like 3 elites and like a bunch of jackals, so it's very nice to get. It can go very wrong if you don't. Like, you throw a plasma and hope you kill at least 2 of the 3 elites, but sometimes you just get wrecked.
Yeah, when you're a new runner, it's not too bad to miss the drop skip. Unless you're having trouble with combat or you have low resources, then it can just be brutal. But there's some runs where, like, I'm going to do a no reset, and then you don't get drop skip and you're there for 5 minutes because you just don't have the ability to kill the things that drop out.
And the
can
last
be
ship
brutal
is scripted
sometimes,
to spawn in as well.
This cave is not
but
a
like
natural
actually taking
formation.
care of the ship, if you're prepared for it,
Someone built
it
it.
only
So
loses
it
you like
must
20 to
be
25 seconds.
I've hacked into the Covenant battle network.
So now we've got the Warthog getting into the natural formation, and we're gonna do a little flame.
Master Chief, I'm going to use your
Very
suit's
fun
transcom
flame
system
that,
to monitor their chatter.
It's pretty easy, but it can sometimes, if the Marine that's driving with you, if he aims his gun just the right way, he can just send you into the floor, and you die. But it's only about like a 15-second revert, so it's not that big a deal. But when you're on a wreck, it's frustrating. Just kind of fling yourself right up there on the ledge.
And we're not
because we're in,
quite done killing Marines yet either. Okay, well,
you are.
apparently he can live. How about that?
He won't be living for long, but
He's good. He's chilling back there.
yeah, he'll be all right. He'll make his way back to the base soon enough. The reason we want to get him out right here is because the next area we're going to is going to have some enemies outside that we just kind of like run by. And if we don't get rid of that Marine, either by leaving him there or killing him, he can aggro everything outside and make it a lot more difficult for you to leave. The next area we're going to we call Cliff, because that's what it's labeled in the script as. And we're going to be saving some more Marines. The reason we want to deal with the Marines in the way we do on Halo is because the objectives that we're trying to complete can be failed, and failing them will progress to the next part of it faster. So if all the Marines are asleep, then we can just move on to the next area.
Slow heat.
Basically, the game says your objective is to rescue the Marines, but it doesn't really care if you rescue them or you just fail the objective. Either way, it says, all right, I guess you're done with that area. And it's faster to kill the Marines instead of the Covenant, so that's what we do.
So the first two areas we're heading to here have multiple wave fights attached to them. There are going to be enemies that come from dropships, or there's just a really large area. And so by completing these first two areas that we do, we leave the last area with the shortest enemy clear time for last. So that's how we stay optimal.
Are you serious?
Oh, that's a gamer officer right there. Nervy's coming up on a trick called Cliff Nade.
No.
Saves 2 seconds.
No.
He skipped it.
No.
It also loses 20.
No.
Totally. It's a good trick. You guys need to start doing it.
Yes. All you do is you throw a plasma, which then boosts you over the wall where you have no shields into two waiting jackals who take you into their loving embrace. This Warhog's incredible.
You die instantly.
I have never died doing it. Anyway, we're heading on
Never
to
say
Rubble.
never.
Rubble is another one of those very long wave fights that we skip by making sure that all the Marines are asleep. We want to make sure that they're in combat before we put them to sleep, because otherwise you would take, you get more aggro points. We didn't talk about much, but there will be opportunity on the next level to do that. We just want to make sure that all those Marines have enough time to fight the Covenant and lose the fight, and then the objective will be failed and we can move on.
Just gonna
Or
be
having
a
an
little,
unfortunate rebel nerving, aren't you?
gonna be a little extra safe there and make sure they're dead.
I might have aggro, I'm not sure.
Sometimes those Marines can really take a beating and survive way longer. And if we leave the area, all of the AI will get frozen, and the objective won't actually be failed, and you'll have to go back and unfreeze them again. It can cause a lot of problems and pretty much kill your run. So Nervy was extra safe there, standing and waiting to make sure that they all died.
We do have a gentleman's agreement that if they don't, we'll just eat like 20 seconds of time loss or something.
I do not have aggro.
Because doing that wave fight is actually just minutes lost, and that wouldn't be a very interesting race.
Now we're in the final area, so this is the shortest clear time that we would be getting if we wanted to full clear an area. We saved it for last, so that there we go. And it's the only one we have to deal with, because we would have to choose one, obviously. If we wanted to.
Oh my god. He's moving.
Dude, everything's hiding.
Oh my gosh, you're hiding too.
Once enough enemies die, then a
Oh my
final
God.
spirit will come in.
Is this jackal still alive?
On the hiding ground.
Once all these spirit enemies are dead, Cortana will say,
Oh, thank God.
That was the ending of all time.
and that means that the level's been completed. We're on an auto-scroller till the Pelican can come and pick us up.
A ship I disabled before we abandoned the
We go on to one of the best levels in the game.
The Creek and Reconciliation touched down on a desert plateau roughly 300 kilometers
Unironically.
Yep.
Yep.
The devs decided, why have a max of 24? Let's give them 64 sniper bullets.
There's our ride. Get aboard.
And we're going to make ample use of that.
The enemy has captured Captain Keyes and are holding him
This
aboard
really is the best
cruisers
level.
in
It's
Truth and Reconciliation. The
it's
ship
a
is
perfectly
currently
balanced
holding
combat,
approximately 300 meters above the
encountered
outer
casually,
plateau.
but also it has its own unique challenges in speedrunning because we have to just go so fast. And so much development has gone into the way we do this. There's kind of like a flow chart to, and depending on the situation, there are some really cool things that we can do. Very hard to keep track of, and I won't be able to comment on it, but there's just a lot of
Higher ground to right.
people spend hours and hours just workshopping this level all the time,
Protected Covenant stationary guns. That's fast. I recommend
and you can do it.
sniper
You don't really get burnt out from it. It's just so fun to do. You saw Nervy put a bunch of Marines to sleep there. That's for something we call no camo strats. They need to be asleep once we get to the next area so that we don't get extra reinforcements that takes 40 seconds off of our time. This is just optimized combat, making sure to survive. Also moving through as quickly as possible. Sometimes you'll prioritize needler grunts, sometimes the shade, sometimes you'll throw a nade. It's all very, very fast combat, and you have to make very quick decisions to make sure that you keep all of your health.
I get a checkpoint. I'm sure it'll be fine.
In years past, we'd take a pretty slow route here and grab an invisibility power-up, but now we just kind of run through and kill everything we see. And it's much faster. It takes a lot of practice, though. I think with this next area, there's a quota of enemies we need to kill. And a trigger we need to hit, and then we can send in the spirit and the pelican.
That should be a checkpoint, yeah.
Nope, spirit's coming in, and we are beginning the 8-wave lift fight. Take a look at this.
My jackal decided to jump out of the spirit very late.
Isn't that glorious?
Well,
That was a really
Covered.
well-done fight.
Woo.
So we know exactly how we can make it work most of the time. Things can go wrong sometimes, like the elite will jump in the wrong way, a jackal will be stacked on top of another jackal.
What? I can't kill him. He's insane. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Marines
Stay.
drove off to the corner.
Where are they going?
Mine all ran off too.
Being able to recover from a bad lift is as much of a valuable skill as being able to do the lift properly, like as it's expected.
Ooh, rape
It's
clip.
very difficult.
Hilarious.
We are in the belly now, and we're going to be clipping above the belly
Nice.
with something we call belly skip. So we're going up above a wave fight, a 10-wave fight, and we're basically just going to be skipping it by moving on to the next area out of bounds. So by throwing nades into a Wraith to explode it, we kind of like shift its geometry a bit. We get inside of it, and then specific inputs throw us into the ceiling. It's really interesting. And then just using this out of bounds platforming, we go just around everything and land back in bounds after the section where we would have opened the door and fought with the Marines and done all that shit. And just skip right by it.
I'm sure they'll be fine on their own.
Yeah, they got this.
You also may have seen Nervy tap a Marine just before doing belly skip. What he was doing there is resetting an aggro counter. He wants to make sure that the Marines are going to get mad at him at a certain point in this level, and so everything to deal with aggro is carefully managed, even here coming up. We're going to be jumping to the third floor of this room with something called Clock Nade. I'm going to throw 1, 2, 3, and 4 nades, and then getting an overshield. While the overshield is charging... Oh, that's tragic. While the overshield is charging, you are invulnerable completely to any damage. You don't take any. And so you can use 4 nades at the same time to get a really nice impulse and shoot yourself all the way to the top floor. You do
I
that in
got
a
shot
few
while trying to
places
stick
as well.
myself.
Yeah, I just messed up my heads.
If you're getting shot while you're trying to stick yourself, it's very highly unlikely that the nade will actually stick
Alright.
you.
Second time's the charm.
Not only does this trick get you to the top floor and progress the mission faster, it also creates a bit of a sequence break where the hangar bay door stays open. Nervy just threw another nade there. That was to reset the aggro timer again. There's a Marine body in the corner. Let's see why he's doing that later. So that sequence break, the hangar bay door is still open. That's going to matter near the end because the requirements for the level to end get a little bit weird. We're going to see like a weird skip after we save keys. Bridge has been cleared.
Runt's trolling a bit. That's alright. They were trolling me earlier today, too.
So now we're on our way to save Captain Key. Really nice optimized combat. Keep it moving as much as we can.
I need to save another nade here. There we go.
Final
Missed
hallway
the
before the
step.
final key. Very well choreographed combat coming in. Whenever you got the stick on the elite, switching the new graphics to see the invisible elites just a little bit better. Once all the enemies are dead, this button becomes live. And quickly get the refill before the cutscene, and it's ready to go. Once again, he's going to reset aggro, go 1 Marine out of combat, with a nade, and then, after we clear up these last couple enemies, the aggro counter should be at 4, I think. Once it gets to 5, right?
Uh-oh, hang on. Let me, oh, what are they doing? Hold still. There we go.
There we go.
I think he's just
Now the
naded
aggro
himself.
counter
Hang
is
on. Oh, he didn't. Good.
Okay, we're all good. So now the Marines are
unfortunate.
angry at him. The reason we want Marines to be angry at him right now is the ending sequence requires the keys finishes a certain number of lines of dialogue, and it takes like 40 seconds. So being angry at us makes it so that all of that dialogue is skipped instantly because he's just angry at us and doesn't want to talk. So according to the level,
Which, I mean, same, honestly.
3 things need to happen. The hangar needs to be empty of enemies, the hangar doors need to be open, and Keys needs to have finished this dialogue. So the level just ends right there. In your casual playthroughs, it would have taken another like 2.5 minutes to complete the level. But because of the way the sequence broke, it just ends right there in the bridge. It's
I
very
think we're
cool.
tied.
All because we just left a hangar door open. The level just can't end. The level just ends early.
Next
Completely
up,
skips the whole walking back, which is would be annoying, especially with aggro.
next up
Especially
is
with
the
Keys shooting
silent
himself.
and this level is kind of odd. We go the complete wrong way. We just run away from the firefight that is so good and so iconic for this game. We just run away from it. And we go grab a hog on the other side of the island.
We'll be fine.
Now,
Probably.
in the segmented version of this run, there is actually a different strat where you do complete that firefight, and it is really cool. I invite you all to watch it. There's a segmented run that's completed in 46 minutes and 7 seconds.
No hands.
Very fast.
Is it splice nervy?
Is what spliced?
No hands.
No hands?
No hands.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
The segmented run is on the Halo Runs YouTube if you guys want to take a look at that sometime after the run. It's
No
very, very
hands.
cool.
Whoa.
Looks like there is a path into the interior of the island.
So far, it's been a pretty dang clean run for both runners. They were just about neck
Except
and
for
neck.
the Halo incident.
No, we don't talk about that. Yeah, we just grab this hog and we head to the security facility that we should be heading to quite a bit later in the level.
I'll bet the sound
And we're just gonna kind of drive our hog straight in.
Oh! The grunt stuck my hog.
Oh.
Very
They're
cool.
putting up a real fight. The cartographer
And we're
must
gonna
It's like
be
a 1 in 100 chance of happening.
close the doors.
Why wait for the door when you can just go through it before it closes?
yeah, you just go straight through. That's actually a massive skip. In your casual playthrough, you'd have to go to another part of the. Ooh.
Analysis here.
I've never had that happen. That's funny. Like where I died on like a second bounce. That's alright.
So we shoot through this vignette. There's a cutscene there that takes a really long time and makes you get a weird checkpoint sometimes. So if you're in combat as you pass that, and as you drop down, you won't get the cutscene. Now that we've looked at the cartographer already, a massive skip, we're gonna head right back up. To do that, we're gonna use the same idea as on the previous level, using 6 nades and an invulnerability. Go straight back up. That is a very difficult trick. Takes a lot of practice, but it's wonderful.
Unfortunate.
Did Bonnie Ross show up?
Yeah, Bonnie Ross showed up.
Oh no.
I'm gonna use our remaining health to do just a triple nade up to here. Saves even more walking. I think my elite died, which means, yeah, I can go.
Oh, that's great. That second shafted stack it saves you about 8 seconds if you do it great. Maybe a little bit more. But it is a little bit risky. Sometimes if that elite is still alive and you have no shields and pretty low health, just because you made sure you're doing a triple nade jump without invulnerability, it can get a little scary.
Oh my god. Oh, I am choking.
We're kind of LOSing the fire from these elites here and getting headshot. Just a little bit of a safety strat. You can also just take the hog straight up all the way and drive past them when the Pelican shows up.
Here's
But I prefer
here's
those
something
strats.
fun.
Massive
Now
change.
the jackals aren't there.
Oh, did you get funny jackals at triple nade?
Yeah, and then I broke the nades. Oh, Elite's alive.
Oh, I forgot to show the revert thing. Can you do that?
Oh yeah, I can do it.
Yeah. The way skipping cutscenes works in this game is the game gives you a checkpoint and you revert that checkpoint, which skips the cutscene. So when you're skipping a cutscene, you're actually reverting it's weird. But anyway, Sloth will show you can just kind of revert at the right time and skip the cutscene that way. Like a half-second time save, maybe. But it's kind of funny. Little quip about how the game works.
Another funny thing about how the game works is in later games we have something called theater. And the way that works is the game engine is designed to be entirely deterministic in that if you do a set of inputs, you'll always get the same result out of the end. So we're going to see that both at the start of this level with the kind of spawns we get, but also coming up here to the Banshee. Once this area is loaded, the Banshee has a certain behavior, and as long as we do things exactly the same way, we're going to get the same result, and we're going to watch this Banshee go for a ride because we crouch at just the right time. And it just kind of runs into the wall and gives you a Banshee.
So you did have Banshee hijacking the whole time, just not in the way that you thought.
Confirmed CG Banshee hijacking.
I'd like to believe they looked at that and were like, oh, we should do that in Halo 2, and then they added like an actual thing, but that's probably not how it happened. One can hope.
So the byproduct of taking that Banshee and just flying to the end here is that no enemies are alive. The entire logic of the level has been completely broken because we didn't take the elevator down. So the entire level is just empty now. You just fly to the end. Luckily, all the buttons work, so we don't have to do any like clipping shenanigans. All of the buttons work, even the one that ends the level. So all we do is we fly all the way through.
And I'm
Or
not
at least we
being annoying, by the way. I'm delaying a checkpoint in case things go wrong.
That's another thing. Because the entire script is broken, all of the scripted checkpoints are gone as well. So if you fail, you go all the way back.
But this checkpoint, there's a checkpoint trigger back in that hallway that we hit, and this checkpoint doesn't time out, so I can shoot as long as I want. It'll never time out. Once I stop shooting, it'll fire the checkpoint. And that's the only checkpoint that we actually get until the end of the level. And we're gonna do some funny things with this Banshee, and funny things can happen as a result of the funny things. So I want to make sure I have some insurance.
Yep.
Wacky, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Burnt, the runner Burnt, spent, what, months meleeing Banshees in certain ways to find this?
Yep, it was months.
Months.
There were quite a few streams where he was just sitting in the chasm there, smacking Banshees and seeing what would happen. And eventually, he came up with what you're going to see in a few seconds here. It's a little bit hard to describe, but it's similar to the belly skip that we did earlier. We clicked inside of the Wraith and went up. Well, Banshees have a particular set of geometry that, if hit in a particular way, can cause something similar. So we're going to set it up right here in the doorway where there's enough free space for it to be meleeed and not interrupted by any walls or things. And just a little boop, and then boink.
Hard
And we
to
teleported
describe
a
just how.
very, very long distance. But we're not done yet.
There's more.
Oh wait.
If you know where the end button trigger is, it's kind of to the left where you are now. Quite a ways inside that control room. But we don't want to walk all that way. We don't want to open those doors and wait for him.
Oh.
We just want to teleport right in there. We're done.
Teleported me inside the control room.
It's a crazy trick and made this... I didn't really run this game until I had seen those teleports. And that's kind of what made me say, hey, I want to run this game. This is so cool.
I mean, shout outs to Burnt. I mean, he's also the one who found stair skip on POA, and I think Cambid spent a long time labbing out the routing that we do in the run now. So it's yeah, a lot of the tools and stuff that we use for practicing. I think a lot of people have worked on them, but I think it was primarily Burnt, and then Cambid stepped in to also help out. And I think Scales, he said, so I'm going to say this now so he has to do it, but he did reveal that he wants to start working on the task tools again. So hopefully, I'm a bot, dude. I can't even, okay. So hopefully we get some even cooler tech that maybe isn't even segmented viable.
If we get task tools, the full game time will drop another 4 minutes. Guaranteed.
I don't know about that. We'll see.
Well, we'll save
We'll
2
find
with
the sparkly teleport.
the sparkly teleport. That'll save 2 minutes. Oh, we don't need to get too much into that.
Anyway, I know this level is iconic. It's the big plot twist, the flood. We're not gonna see that though.
Unfortunately.
We're just gonna jump into a light here.
Whoops.
Eventually, after grabbing a health pack and waiting for a checkpoint.
Mess that up. Let's try that again. Dude, I'm a bot.
Ooh.
No, you can take your time.
No, I gotta give Sloth a chance to catch up.
Exactly.
Nice. fell down to the boulder.
Dude, are you serious?
Take your time. Take your time.
I'm just giving you a chance, man. That's all.
Thanks. Thanks.
No worries. There we go.
There we go. So we kind of clip into the floor here, and then crouch and uncrouch at just the right time to skip across to the other beam, and then we just jump through the floor. And where we are now is after the reveal thing has happened. After we've seen the popcorn, after those first combat forms have come storming into the room, after you figured out what happened to Jenkins. It's all
There's
gone.
the blood.
We
It's
just skipped
everywhere. Yeah, and the flood just kind of appear. So, you know, they're just here now.
Wow, I'm a
The
boss.
game won't explain it because we skipped the part that explains it. But there they are.
it. Flood goes in, flood goes out.
Fun fact about this trick, it's called Camo Jumo. And the reason it's called Camo Jumo and not, you know, like, why not Camo Jump is because someone in a Twitch chat accidentally misspelled jump as Jumo. So it's just Camo Jumo now.
Been a meme for about a decade.
Yeah. So shout outs to that one chatter. I have no idea who you are, but you've had such an impact.
We're just making our way through the facility with invisibility so we don't get to fight the enemies. We are keeping our eyes peeled for a plasma pistol. Though.
Already got one.
If we find one, oh, you already got one. Nice. Way ahead of me. That's going to be used in the ending to kill some sentinels.
Whoops. No, let me up. That was good. So I failed second Jumo somehow, but I was able to do a backup nade there, fortunately. Well, that was
and that's the entire interior. It's done.
Well, that was a disaster, but anyway, we're out of there.
Coming up to the top here, the runners are going to try to kind of tag a Marine before he gets a chance to speak to us. There it is. And so his entire goal right now is to tell us something. And so he's going to chase us with everything he has. We want that to happen because the Flood can also target him in addition to the Thief, and we can kind of use him as a bullet sponge. That was a recent development within like the past year that has actually made the ending fight a lot more consistent. It's a very impactful thing to do.
Threw a plasma to hopefully bait them away from my boy here because I need him to just soak up some damage here. I got a frag grenade. That's going to be useful.
I have one of those.
Our goal here is to kill 2 sentinels when they spawn. There's a trigger that we're going to pass in about 3 seconds. And once those 2 sentinels are dead, the level will basically be on a timer duty, where guilty spawn will say, hey, that's enough.
Where's the other one?
Good question.
There he is. Oh. There we go.
There it is. So now we're on.
Sometimes they spawn in places that are weird and they can't figure out how to get to you, and yeah, that happens.
And then the level's over. The library. What are your thoughts on the
Everyone's
library,
favorite.
fellas?
This
Is it a
level
good level?
is
Unironically
single-handedly holding back the speedrun IMO. Just a lot of RNG, but it is fun, fortunately. But if you get bad RNG, if you just lose some coin flips, that's it. You can just lose your run because of that. Through no fault of your own.
Nervy shot the arm off of that Flood, and now he's gonna just be bringing him over, herding him like a little sheep to a door. We jumped over the middle to skip a trigger, and so we're basically just gonna be taking this Flood all the way to the door and performing what's called a Flood bump, which is, again, similar to the kinds of teleports and bumps that we've seen in previous parts of the run. This time we're just doing it with a reviving enemy. So when they get knocked down, they can get back up if they're a reviver. And when they do that, their collision re-engages, and we can use that to kind of bump through walls. A little bit similar to how Doom 2016 used some animation clipping.
And that's a guaranteed reviver that we get at the start of the level. Well, okay, yeah, that happened. I kind of need that. Anyway.
No swag grab the runs.
No
first.
swag grab.
Mine's a jumper.
most of every other like flood spawn that you see here, there is a 40% chance that they are a reviver. That one's fortunately guaranteed, but the rest will not. And one door, well, I won't spoil it yet, but it can lose quite a bit of time if you lose those coin flips.
Right, so there's determinism shown again, where you always spawn into the level in the same situation, and if you were to do the same inputs all the time, you get the same result. That flood spawns on the first tick of the game, and so he will always be who he is.
That's very uplifting, honestly.
So that's something predictable, and whenever something's predictable, we can use it for speed. In the easy version of this level, you don't use that reviver, but you can get a random reviver. And so on the easy run, instead of taking that specific one to the door, we go to the door and then try different revivers and see if we can get some time save with one of them. And that's the first floor. The second floor starts out with something called carrier door. And we can roll the dice a little bit on this and try and get a carrier bump. It's kind of a special flood bump where it's not about being a reviver. Instead of using the collision of the...
I'll try it once.
I'll try it once as well, if I get a checkpoint. Not losing a run again.
So with this one, instead of using the collision of the carrier when it explodes, it actually uses the popcorn that spawn inside of it when it does explode. So right when it hits the ground, boom!
It did not give me the thing.
It's possible that those popcorn clip you through, but it's pretty RNG. I'd say it's about like a 16% chance the popcorn spawns in the right place. In my testing, at least.
That tracks, I think.
And if we don't get it, we kind of just have to wait here for about 40 seconds for 343 to show back up.
I did not get it.
Open the door.
You didn't get anything? Alright. Shotgun ammo is not looking good. I have to be careful here.
We are living. Hopefully living.
If you have a lot of overshield from the first floor, it can be kind of a free attempt on carrier bump, because you don't lose as much health as you typically would. But usually people won't go for that in full game unless they're really bleeding time on the earlier levels.
Or you're going for record at this point.
Oh, and it can also just crash your game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is the thing.
We fixed that though.
Yeah, we fixed it. 343 didn't.
Yeah, we have the bug patch thing out. Gale's figured it out. Just look at his. We have an article. It'll tell you. Just fix it.
Google the curious case of the carrier. It's actually a really good blog post. It's very entertaining.
Gale's is
Was that
a
the
very
carrier damage thing?
yeah. But I think he also figured out the carrier glitch as well. I'm gonna get some shotgun out. Ow.
That carrier's having a bad day.
Yep.
Not as bad as Kronos had in the next tunnel. In that one BDQ.
Not having any nades here is kind of not great, to be honest.
Yeah, I got 2.
The first rocket flood sighting. I'm gonna see a few more of those.
There we go. Good adjustment there. Those carriers can absolutely destroy you, along with the rocket flood. Usually I'd like to have a frag there, and I just sort of throw it and, you know, just kill them all. But I didn't have one there, so I had to sort of prioritize and be careful there, otherwise the carriers will ruin me. But, To explain a bit about the carrier damage glitch, so this is an MCC specific glitch. Actually, I think it's just a CEA specific glitch in general.
No,
Maybe?
it's MCC.
Is it just MCC? Okay.
Yep, just MCC.
So on MCC, they added metals, and they broke something when they added the metals. So on Legendary, if you shoot a carrier, when it explodes, it does easy damage. On Easy, when you shoot a carrier and it explodes, it does Legendary damage. That's funny. So on Legendary, it's great. We're chilling. The carriers aren't doing as much damage as long as we just shoot them first. On Easy, it's usually fine, but there's definitely a few clips out there of someone getting jump scared and shooting a carrier and just exploding and dying.
And a shotgun for this things.
This is a pretty scary tunnel because of all the chain reactions that can occur, so runners are often very careful to blow up everything at the end of the tunnel after they shoot it. So it'll drop nades, and we don't want those blowing up when we get there, when the carriers explode on top of it. This is the best door we're going to see. This is the 40%, by the way, door.
I am
Dark door.
delaying a
40%, by the
checkpoint. And we're going to keep reverting until we get that 40%.
We take a checkpoint before these enemies spawn, and so we can re-roll their spawns and hopefully get a
Hello,
revival
carrier.
from one of them.
One,
Might not get a checkpoint now.
two.
I'm counting 6. Oh, third try.
I'll take that.
Third try is pretty par for the course. Let's see what Sloth's up to.
Yeah. I had a carrier chase me, so I had to kill him up to a checkpoint.
Looks like Sloth is doing... He tried the backup where you take the slow...
I am just getting very unlucky.
Oh, goodness.
That door is notoriously has something against Sloth. I think he has the record for the most tries that door has taken.
It's over 20.
Are
2
you
and 5, by the way.
No.
Yeah, it's like 24, yeah.
That's like your record, like how many tries it took at one point?
Yeah, it took me 24 tries.
The most it's ever taken for me was like 7 or 8, maybe 9. So
40%, 25.
40% probably.
oh my god. Are you actually getting dark doored again?
It took me 6.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
This room that Nervy's in it used to be the bathroom break room until G-Pro came along and found Light Bump. And now we just kind of clip into the door, do a little teleport, got us wood carpet, and then we just kind of go on top of this light here, do another kind of teleport bump shenanigans, and we're past the door.
And that door
Almost
usually
don't
takes
think about
90
that.
seconds to open, so... And in prior runs, you'd see runners try to get a reviver there, and you don't get the reviver, you lose 90 seconds. So, and that's a lot. That's a long time. Like, carrier bump, as much as we, gripe on it, it's 40 seconds if you don't get it. 90 seconds is... So, having a trick like that just right over is pretty big. Makes this level a lot more consistent, just a lot less bad, honestly.
And now we're on the last floor of the library. There's not too much to talk about mechanically other than the bumps, so it's kind of just running through, being a little bit efficient with your resource management, your shotguns, your nades. But other than that, it's just kind of you walk and then you pray.
Yep.
That's about it.
It's like a, what, 1 in 100 chance to get a perfect library?
Something like that.
I got a
40 minutes
boy,
into the
but
round.
is he a reviver?
This is the
Better not
last
be.
door.
Nope. He's probably a reviver, but I'm not going to risk that.
So you can try a few times on this to get another bump through, but it's entirely RNG. doesn't save a whole lot of time, so people just kind of like take the first person they can, and if that doesn't work, they just wait it out.
This
There's one
run
runner-
we're like PBable. Maybe I'd, play a little riskier, but no reason to really, honestly.
One runner, Tunguska, likes to take the checkpoint in the corner after having the first human spawn, and then kill them. And if they revive, then you can revert and then try with the same one, because that will always be a reviver. You don't save quite as much time, but it is a little bit of a way to get some consistency and a little bit of time saving.
Yeah, definitely like how he does that. A very nice way, because that last
of course
door
you're a
can
reviver.
kill you pretty easily.
And this isn't a door that we use a bump on, we just wait for it to open. But we go a little bit faster by jumping up on the ledge and then going through it. And that's specifically done.
You want to see something scary? Whoa.
Mm.
Oh god, they're actually mad at me.
We do that on Legendary even though it drops our fields and such, because we can get past those flood and they don't see us. If we had waited on the other side of that door, you'd have to fight through that entire field of enemies. They're just jumping through that little hole in the door and sprinting past is very nice. This is a...
I'd love to skip this, but honestly the lore is so rich here, and I also can't.
If anyone was wondering, this is a 69-second cutscene.
Nice.
Is it 63?
Out of 69.
No, it's a minute and 3 seconds, pretty sure.
I can pause for 6 seconds if we want.
I won't demand it, but...
Protocol requires that I take possession of the index for transport. Your organic
Oh, we were pretty close until Dark Door.
infection. The index must not fall into the hands of the flood before
Yeah,
we
it's
reach
a-
the control room and activate the
I've
installation.
been watching your feed, but I'm guessing it's just been kind of back and forth.
Yeah.
Usually how this run goes, but this level... Oh boy.
This level, this has changed the most out of all the levels when we came to MCC, because using new graphics out of bounds can be, it's going to get pretty wild, and I'm going to do my best to try and explain as we go, but we're going to be kind of phasing through the map. It's going to be a little bit wild to watch. We'll give it a go. Very hectic start here. We need to make sure that
Oh god.
the sentinels die and the grunts do not.
Die.
If the grunts die, then we get extra spawns here, and the combat's much more difficult. We're just gonna have to run through and make sure that all those grunts are alive.
Please give me a checkpoint.
Next up, we're gonna be deloading the enemies outside by hitting this button twice. So what we do is the script checks whether the door is open or not, and if you time pressing the button the second time just right, it'll open the door, but then the script will think that the door is closed. And so all of these enemies that were running, that would be running around here, they're just not spawned yet. But also, we can't complete the level. We need to go back and press that button a third time to make sure that script progresses. But we're going to do that after we pick up this nice little Banshee. So that'll make heading back down the mountain much faster.
Also a checkpoint trigger right here. That'll make getting checkpoints a lot easier when we're setting up the thing.
So now we're just coming right back up, dropping the Banshee off, hitting the button, and getting right back into the Banshee and running away as fast as we can.
There is a trick that we do in the individual level speedrun called no deload, where we just blast through those enemies, but oh boy.
To do that in a marathon would be silly. So we're moving on to first gen here.
Banshee.
Pop that.
Lead didn't die, cool.
Going into here, pop the first gen. Some sentinels are going to spawn, and then when we go outside, there are going to be more banshees. We're going to use those extra banshees to do something very, very funny. So if you notice the loading done in the top left, right now, what happened there is we zone switched. We're now in a different ESP than the one inside with that shield generator, or pulse generator. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this Banshee, we're going to do some shenanigans, fly into the ceiling, And we're going to reload the inside. So now everything on the outside of this level has no geometry. It is incorporeal. So now we've just jumped into a Banshee, and
May I
we're flying
have
through
silence,
space.
please? 1 second.
Head through that door. That's the
Thank
way
you.
to the next canyon.
Yeah, the reason we needed silence there was the pathing here and running into the trigger cycles is very precise. And so we wanted to make sure that Nervy had his sound cues just right.
Sloth, let us know when you're coming up on yours. But there's a bunch of triggers here I need to hit. Most of them check on every second.
Like 5 seconds. Okay.
And most of the triggers check every second, which when you're on foot is not that big a deal, but when you're, in a Banshee, you can easily just blow through the triggers without actually hitting them. But we can do, with a precise timing and semi-precise pathing, we can hit them all on, at least like a good portion of them on the cycle that they're checking. I didn't get it. And that explosion is what lets us know that we hit all the triggers in sequence so far. Otherwise, we don't know.
That was the
He
first
doesn't
segment of the out of bounds. So he's going up to the first BSP load. Just kind of tuck your feet into the wall and then get back into the out of bounds Banshee. What that does is that reloads the canyon. We come down here, we reload the inside. Now we're coming down here to the elevator, hitting a trigger, going down.
Late explosion sketches me out every time.
It got me. Yeah, it hit me with that late explosion too.
We're just continuing to hit all the triggers that we'd be hitting on foot, progressing the game thinks that we're just speeding through this, hitting everything. It's crazy. Now we're going back up here with a very special route that only nerdy runners really do. We're gonna reload the outside.
This is called Papega Route. We were sitting in a Discord call, and this was called New Route at the time, but it stopped being so new. And give me 1 sec. There we go. And I forgot what I was doing. I think I failed something while I was like learning this route. And I said, you know what? This is Papega Route. And anyway, now it's called Papega Route. So.
And if you do it, you're pretty Papega.
Yeah,
It
that's
saves,
fair.
what, like 6 seconds?
That's juicy time save right there.
One of the harder loads here.
But I like it
Inbounds.
because I get a checkpoint here.
Get a checkpoint. And the Banshee kind of freezes there because of the way we go inbounds with it.
I missed the load, very cool. Or the...
So now we're hitting 2nd gen.
Oh no, dude.
The pulse generator overloaded. One more to go.
Wow. Better than this inbounds.
Uh-oh.
I located the Pillar of Autumn. She put down 1,200 kilometers up.
So what happened there was because the canyon was loaded and we're trying to like just skirt underneath the trigger just there on Sloth's screen, he accidentally went a little bit too high and clipped back inbounds. So the rest of the level is going to need to be completed inbounds.
It's kind of cool though that
includes-
you can actually see both versions, like what 2nd gen used to be like. So
Yeah, watching Sloth do 2nd gen after having no practice for quite a long time is going to be interesting.
anyway,
Okay.
I skipped the broken door there, and I'm just gonna split these triggers because that second one right there spawns in rocket flood and AR flood, and I'm not dealing with that.
Well, I am now 6 for 6 on Choking Bull on a relay, so let's go.
That's all right. I mean, happens. If anything, like
No rockets.
without rockets, but like, if anything, like it just sort of gives a bit of insight into how the run used to be, at least, which I think is cool.
It used to be bad.
So here's the entire reason we even need to come inbounds, by the way. For some reason, 5 Flood need to die here. Basically,
We're in trouble.
the script will not the script won't progress and let us end the level unless 5 Flood die here. 5 Flood can't die unless we're in bounds. So that's the entire reason why we're doing all those loads and everything is specifically for that trigger. This level was one of the last levels that Bungie made. I think it was actually the last, right?
Yes,
So
it was the last level.
there's a lot of just daisy chain triggers together. It's like the exact opposite of what we saw in Assault in the control room. We can't just fly to the end. We have to actually play the level, I guess. We play it in a little unique way, but yeah.
If that specific part of the script where 5 Flood have to die didn't exist, then we could just stay. We could make everything incorporeal and just fly through the spaciness all the way to the end and just hit the last gen and complete the level. Which would be kind of a little bit lame, I guess.
RNG
Just a little
minute
bit.
by skip the cutscene at a particular time to guarantee I get a reviver up here.
Once again, determinism coming into play. By doing exactly the right movements, we can get this flood will always be revived, and we're going to use that to pump through a door. Keys is a really special level where the beginning and ending BSPs overlap each other. And so once we clip through this wall here, we're actually like in the same area that we would have been in if we hadn't gone through all of the the ground level section. So we're just gonna load in the last BSP there by going through the invisible wall. And then all of these enemies are like dead because they're not supposed to be here exactly. You get a trigger to load them, but they're loaded in the wrong zone. And the cutscene is live though, so we can just kind of move on. And when we come out of the cutscene, it's actually going to switch BSPs. They're the same thing, but they have different logic attached to them. Where after the cutscene, it's now properly loaded as the end of the level.
I'm careful here as well because this cutscene is unskippable and we can die during it. Isn't
So there's
good.
2 chiefs.
Yeah. There's your cutscene chief, then your actual chief, and your actual chief can just get demolished and you just get reverted. So we want to make sure we kill those flood. Back to like TB for a second though. I'm actually really happy the 5 flood trigger exists because the route is so interesting, right? Like having to hit all those loads and yeah, the IL in particular, we hit those loads pretty insane. Okay, am I just gonna get demolished here?
The development by Camden over like a span of like 8 or 9 months, just demolishing that level back to back to back with different strats, new interesting ways of completing.
Oh my
triggers.
god. Dude, the
It was really exciting to see.
popcorn just Mr. President in my plasma. Was trying to distract the floods so they wouldn't shoot me, but that was scary.
Let's get down to the second level of this room. We're basically waiting for this Banshee to poop out his elite, and then we can just get him. That's it. These Banshees weren't actually designed to be flown, and they are coded completely differently than the Banshees on the rest of the levels, because once you get in the Banshee, cutscene starts in casual play. So they fly like the prototype Banshees. They were never fixed. It's quite odd. And we're in new graphics here, going into the mall, because that allows you to skip the cutscene and not jump.
That's
a
not
fun little CEA thing.
That's not why I do new graphics, but that is one reason to do it. I do it because honestly, it's just how I do the level, and just throws me off if I'm in old graphics, which is, you know, the mental side when you get to this level after getting through all of that. I want everything to be as close to the IL as possible, basically.
This is one of the few times you'll see a lot of new graphics in the room. So what we're doing here is we clipped out of bounds a little door bump, and now we're just touching the load zones.
More accurately, Chief's rear. Oh god.
Right, yeah. The trigger node is in Chief's bum.
That teleport is... I'll let you explain it.
That teleport was what we call a long teleport, and it's pick perfect, and the inputs are very strange. You have to like jump, and it's like a delayed W press. It takes a lot of practice to get right, and you need to aim pixel perfectly with a specific sensitivity in game as well. It's very strange, and we had to do a lot of research to get that thing. But it saves a lot of time, and it skips what used to be a cafe bump, where we would get into the roof of the cafe and then carefully jump over a bunch of different geometry. It was a lot harder, but
I regret my life
it could be
choice
done
there.
on every version of the game, and that was what we did for a long time, even into MCC until we got that teleport down.
I hope this doesn't kill me, but I guess we'll find out.
Engine room located. We're here.
Well, okay.
I can still catch up, maybe.
Hang on. I'm not gonna fall apart now.
Engine room located. We're here.
Dude, I'm falling apart. I'm like trying to not take as much damage and just being silly. I'm just gonna do it how I always do it.
Engine room located. We're here.
Okay, I'm not dead.
Alert. The monitor has disabled
That's
all
pretty
command
close.
access. We can't restart the countdown.
We're fine.
The
We're
flood up top
gaming.
don't mess with us. So now we're doing reactors. We need to kill all 4, and this has been workshopped down so that we always are hitting a reactor when its flaps are open. Once this area is loaded, going through that
Good lord, what is happening here?
you're always going to, like, the flaps on the 4 reactors are always going to animate in the same way. So we have to make sure that everything we do
No.
is timed, and see right there, that delay that we had made it so that the flaps were closed. You don't want that.
Never had all the flood spawn on the other side like that. Interesting, but we adapted.
Fusion reactor number 1 destabilizing. Use explosives on the other 3 reactors. That should be enough to trigger a wildcat explosion.
Flipping into the elevator here to get a drop on these enemies here. Really cool, flashy little here. And then we're going up.
And I think if you ever watch the IL of this level at this point, I think Sloth, Scales, and I have basically ruined it beyond repair.
A little bit.
It was so comfy.
Yeah, the movement got pretty insane, and it's my favorite level, probably to no one's great surprise. I love it. It's so fun. Oh god. Okay.
The iconic mod drive. But it's going to be done very, very well by Nervy.
Oh, don't put me
Spent
on
hundreds of hours.
pedestal. Oh no.
There's going to be no mistakes. It's going to be amazing. You made it look. That is so hard.
Whenever you see people first learning it, they're always bonking on everything, and it's one day I just got on, I could just do it. I don't really know what I changed, I just sort of understood it, and that's just the best way to describe it. You just keep doing that until your brain just picks up on what it has to do.
For anyone who's seen Cars, the little gem of advice that I believe Nervy and Scales have given off is you turn right to go left. Doesn't make any sense, but it works.
Yeah. I don't remember saying that, but it sounds like something I'd say.
Well, we're nearing the end of the run here. Are any shout-outs, comments, things you gotta get off your chest before the end of the run?
Well, we have to shout out Camden, the world record holder.
This is where
on probably one of the greatest speed runs, probably the greatest speed run of this game ever. Well, obviously ever with world record, but like just a run that was as close to perfect as you can get, even for a world record. So of course, shout outs to him. Always got to shout out Garish. Held the record for 6 years before Gambit came along and in his little speedboat bopped him. And then Sloth followed, and then I also recently followed, so was able to secure the top 3. But much of this run in its current form would not exist without Garish, and I don't think we would be running without Garish, if that makes sense, just everything that he's done. Shout outs to Burnt for coming up with tools and finding so many different strats, scales as well. All the other runners like Goose and Wacky and Chinovsky, and we have also a lot of newer runners coming in looking like they're getting interested. Runners like P-Jizzy, just so many different people, so much history behind the run, and it's been fun to just be a part of it. Anyway, screw walking.
And barrels are their suggestion. That's the run. Congratulations, man. What's your final time?
Oh, shout outs to Goat Rope too, because HaloRuns.com to find your Halo things.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Here we go.
Very true.
Now, the axe... Oh, God, this part is so loud. At least in my ears. Maybe it's not too loud for y'all. But, yeah, HaloRuns.com. Not just, you know, Halo 1 that's, you know, gotten crazy. All the other Halos have been doing incredible things. Halo 4 Segmented just recently came out, and that was really awesome to watch. Even though I know absolutely nothing about Halo 4, it was still awesome to watch. And yeah, you can just find a whole bunch of things there, resources if you're interested in running this game. Please, we're always looking for new runners. Always so fun to see new people come in.
Shut them down. Leave them later.
And yeah, it's too many names that I could shout out, so I guess I'll just leave it there.
No, you gotta kill a minute and a half.
Gotta kill a minute and a half. Oh God. Maybe I'll just tune in to Sloth's run.
Hey, he's about to do
We're almost to
P60 swag,
barrels.
right?
Yeah, that
We didn't talk
TV
about
was
this.
unfortunate.
But
Did anyone
yeah,
else
it's been
Scanning.
a wild ride for me personally, and you know, I think I can speak for everyone else. It's
We're all that's left.
been, yeah,
We did
it's
what
crazy.
we
That's the only way I can put it. All the different newer strats that have just sort of come about, and especially just two betrayals in particular is
Halo.
ridiculous at this point now. And
I
yeah,
think we're just getting started.
run's come definitely a long way. So
The next run
Also
up.
didn't choke barrels.
The next run up is going to be
Alrighty.
Halo 4 by Hark. That's also going to be an absolutely amazing run. It's going to be Halo 4 easy. He's a madman. He's going to do some crazy strats that no one else even thinks to do on easy. Definitely
Hey,
stick
Nervy.
around to watch
oh, and
that.
Kronos as well. Hi Kronos. Just
Nervy.
adding it to my shout out list. What's up?
The estimate was 111. I got a 110.59, so we're good.
I don't know, Sloth. Your timer there says 11:50. You didn't do it with the loads,
Oh.
unfortunately.
I don't think so.
Thank you, Shots Fired,
All
for
right,
having
yep.
us on. That was a lot of
Yes.
fun.
Great time.
And again, if you want to see more, HaloRuns.com is the
HaloRuns.com.
place to go. Brain is it's 2:45 a.m. for me
It's
right now. I need to
It's
go to
late.
bed. Anyway, thank you all so much for having us. Yeah. Sloth, I'll let you talk so I can stop talking now.